You are listening to the FORSCOM Frontline, bringing you to our soldiers on the front lines of readiness.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the FORSCOM Frontline. I'm Jeannie, and I'm your host. Today, I'm joined by Corporal Reschelle Deschenes, who was named the 2024 Boss President of the Year. Welcome, Corporal Deschenes, and thank you for taking the time to talk to me today.
Thank you, Jeannie.
So, to start, just tell me a little bit more about yourself. How long have you been in the Army? Where are you originally from? That kind of thing.
Yeah, of course. Well, my name is Reschelle Deschenes. I'm a corporal in the Army. I've been in the Army. I'm coming up on my 6-year mark. So in November, that will be my 6 years in the Army. And I'm actually getting out of the Army. So I'm in the process of that right now.
Oh, so, well, we'll talk about future stuff. Let's talk about what you've done since you've been in the Army. So 6 years, so that means you joined in 2018. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And so I guess my biggest question is, I read somewhere that you joined BOSS in 2019, correct?
I joined BOSS in 2019 as just attending events.
As a member.
And then as a member, and then I became a BOSS representative for my company after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to backtrack for our readers, our listeners who may not know what BOSS stands for. It's Better Opportunity for Single Soldiers. And if you are at a joint base, it's Better Opportunities for Single Service Members. So think Joint Base San Antonio, Joint Base Lewis McChord. That would be for both soldiers and airmen. But in your case, it was for soldiers, and you were stationed at Fort Bliss.
Yes.
So you joined the Fort Bliss BOSS program in 2019. And what did you think of it? Like, how did you find out about BOSS? What kind of enticed you to go to a meeting? Like, take me down that journey.
So what got me really involved with BOSS was when I first got here, my mentality. So you asked about where I was from. I'm from a small town, but I'm near water. I'm from Florida. So we're surrounded by water sports. I came here and my mentality was, there's nothing for me. I'm in a desert. Like, I had that negative mindset when I first got here. And then in July of 2019, I had been here for a few months. There was a BOSS bash, and I got invited by one of the BOSS representatives. And so I went and I had a great time. I mean, there was a ton of activities. I made friends and I won a big TV. So that kind of solidified that BOSS was just a lot. It was the whole package for me. And it was the first time that I had a lot of fun here at Fort Bliss. Like, I enjoyed myself. So after that, I was like, I just grabbed onto BOSS and went for it.
Okay. Yeah. And so, what made you become or want to become the BOSS president?
To become the BOSS president, I actually had no confidence in myself for that for a while. I was a BOSS rep, and my first sergeant, his name's First Sergeant Pantoa. He's my mentor, but he's very ambitious. And he always encourages us to just do more and do better and make change. And so he would come with me to my BOSS meetings. And at one of the meetings, they announced they were hiring for a president. And he said, are you going to apply? And I said, oh, no, I don't think so. They need me at work. Like, I was really focused on my job. And he encouraged me. He said, if we lose you tomorrow and we fail at work, we're not doing the right thing. You should be here. You should apply. And so I applied and I got elected. And it was amazing. I couldn't believe it.
That is amazing. And from what I understand too, is that when you take on the role of BOSS president or, any kind of elected position in the BOSS program, you leave your job for that year term, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And so what were you doing in the Army before you left for that year?
I'm an Apache helicopter maintainer.
Okay.
And what I was doing for a few years actually before I left was working on helicopters. It was hard work, but I loved it. Being in aviation, it's such a beautiful community. It's a family, and I had a great time. But I was really excited about that new journey with Boss, even though I hated to leave what I'd known for so long,
Yeah,
but I felt comfortable. Yeah.
absolutely. So, what did your job entail, like being the boss president? What was your day to day? Like, what did you have to do?
Every day is different.
Sounds like public affairs.
Right? Yeah, it does. Boss is very unique because it is a Army program, but an MWR entity.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have taskings and jobs from both sides. There may be a meeting that I need to go to and talk to senior leaders on Monday. And then on Tuesday, I might be at an MWR function learning about safety or helping with an event. So there's two houses that you're going back and forth between. But it's awesome because you have so many partners. So day to day, you get to the office, you log in, you talk with your team, you go over your plan for the day, and then you execute. And we used to work pretty much 7 days a week, but we changed it and we started working Wednesday through Sunday because it's really important that we were available on the weekends for our soldiers because that's when they're available mostly, those
Right.
Saturdays. But Friday through Sunday, events. We are kayaking, we are fishing, we are going to the water parks, like we're hiking. And then Wednesday through Thursday and Friday, it's meetings, event planning, coordinating, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just mentioned a lot of different activities that you do in Boss. What is your least favorite thing about being the Boss president in the Boss program?
I think, I know what my least favorite thing was overcoming the stigma of the Boss program and then the council members on that program. The stigma that surrounds Boss is the people that are on the council are lazy and they're just trying to get out of work. They're trying to get out of their duties, their MOS, their responsibilities. And that's what people view us as. But that's furthest from the case. We are making a difference. We're impacting soldiers. We're improving their quality of life. And every day we work hard for that. And so we overcame that. But that was the hardest thing was people treating me like I was lazy and then me having to prove them wrong. Like, absolutely not. We're about to change the game. Yeah.
Right. And do you think that's because of a misunderstanding of what the Boss program is? I've been part of the military community for over 20 years. I've been stationed with my husband at multiple locations. I've worked with the Boss presidents in the past and everything. And I feel like that's a commonality among every Boss program. It's, it's misunderstood exactly what Boss does for the single soldiers in that area.
Absolutely. It's very common. Everybody has to overcome it. And I hope that after they put more eyes on Boss and they highlight the program more and they can actually see what we're doing, that it will change their mentality of the program. We have great leadership support here at Fort Bliss. And I think that's why we're so successful. Because great leadership, getting that support from them, and then they encourage their soldiers to utilize us as a resource. Because at the end of the day, we are that resource for them. Right. What our purpose is, like I already said, is to improve quality of life. To other people on the outside, it might just look like we're having fun. We're just kicking back, having fun, having a party. We are, but there's a purpose to it. There's a purpose to the fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what would you say is some of your biggest wins as the Boss president? Now, I have a couple in mind that I've already read about and, kind of already know, but I want to see what you say.
Biggest wins. There's two. If we're speaking of an event that really impacted soldiers, something that is going to be long lasting and it's going to change the culture of the Boss soldiers coming on Fort Bliss. Tour de Bliss. Tour de Bliss was my original idea when I applied for the president position. In my interview, I said, I want to create a tour to show soldiers all the resources on Fort Bliss. And we made that happen. So it took 3 months to do our first pilot, and we toured. It was only 7 soldiers at the time, and we were in our little boss van, and we toured 13 different locations. The reason why this tour was so important to me to give back to them is because I was on Fort Bliss for a long time, and there were things here that I didn't even know about. There was pools, facilities, there was different activities to go and do, Ninja Warrior courses. There was a ton, and I had no clue because it's so big. We're a very large installation, 25 minutes from one side to the other. And so that was our biggest win. So right now, that tour has completely changed. It's morphed and gotten bigger, more support. And we now do the tour every single Wednesday for the brand new soldiers at reception. And so we're impacting about 60 soldiers a week. They get a tour of 13 facilities on Fort Bliss every Wednesday.
That is absolutely amazing, and that is exactly what I was talking about, was the Tour de Bliss, because I think it's an amazing idea, not only for single soldiers, but for just all new incoming soldiers. Is that something that you think that Fort Bliss will carry on, maybe offering something similar to accompanied soldiers as well?
I definitely think that's something that they're moving towards.
Okay.
So even on our Boss Tour de Bliss, if there's a couple married soldiers that are in the barracks and their spouses aren't there yet, they'll hop on the tour with us. But I think it's something they should look at doing for all soldiers.
So no discrimination if somebody is kind of a geo bachelor and wants to come. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, anybody that can fit on the bus, will take them on the tour.
Absolutely. Yeah. Maybe I should come out there and hop on so I can see what's going on. I've never been to Fort Bliss, so I don't know.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Love it. So you said there was a second win for you. What would that be?
That was our prom.
Ooh, tell me more.
So we had some requests from soldiers. During our boss meetings, all of our event ideas come from the soldier. And so we had a few soldiers say, I missed my prom because of COVID. I missed my prom. And I know it sounds like very youthful to do a prom, but that's something that you experience when you are in your senior year of high school. And a lot of our junior soldiers, they never went to prom or graduated. Like, they graduated, but they didn't get to walk.
They didn't have a graduation. I 100% understand this because my son graduated in 2020, did not have a prom, did not have a graduation. It was very depressing, and it was just kind of one of those weird times, in life with COVID. Yeah. So I can see how this can be very impactful to those junior soldiers. Now, what kind of feedback did you get, after the prom? Because you said that they were excited, they wanted to do it. So what was the feedback after?
It was good. So they want to have more dances, not necessarily prom themed, even though that was a lot of fun. But they would like to do quarterly dances or even just one big yearly dance where we get together and we just have a good time. It was 1920s Great Gatsby themed, so
I love it. I love it. I had told my son for their prom that they should do, because it was 2020, so do Roaring 20. So I think that's amazing. That's very classy. Now,
it was good.
Do you know if Fort Bliss, because I understand you've already left the presidency, so you've already passed it off. Is there any plans for another prom or big dance this year?
I know they were talking about, I don't want to do any spoilers, but I know they were talking about doing something for Halloween.
Okay.
I don't know if they're going to, what they would call it, but you would dress up in Halloween costumes and you would go to this dance rave kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds fun. That sounds really fun, actually. So, kind of getting into, the meat and potatoes, we've talked about, your stint as the boss president, but one of the biggest reasons why we wanted to talk to you today, being a FORSCOM soldier and serving as boss president, is that recently, just a couple months ago, you won the boss president of the year for a large installation. Tell me about that. I did not know that was a thing, but I think it's awesome. So tell me how you felt winning that. Did you know before you went to the Boss Leader Forum in Virginia, or did you show up and then they announced it? And you guys got a whole bunch of other awards too, so we'll talk about that too. But tell me, kind of what was going through your head then.
Yes. For the Boss President of the Year for the entire Army, I didn't know. No one knows. We go to the Boss Forum every year. There's the Boss Conference, and we go through different trainings, and then we have special events. And one of the nights we do a ceremony where they recognize different installations for the work that they're doing. So they'll do community service project awards, Boss President awards for different installation sizes. And for Fort Bliss, I did win the Boss President of the Year. And the submission for my award was done by my advisor and my sergeant major. So I didn't know if I was going to win or not, but my sergeant major and my advisor, they definitely wrote my award right, and I won.
That's amazing. And on top of that, your advisor won Best Senior Military Advisor of the Year, correct?
So my sergeant major won Best Sergeant Major of Boss for ID readiness.
Oh, okay. So, and that was... go ahead.
And we also won Best Extra Large of ID readiness as well. So 2 more awards for that.
Absolutely. And then I think I also saw something about a Gold President's Volunteer Service Award as well.
Yes. That's from all of the volunteer work that we do in the community, which is a lot. We are always involved in community projects.
Okay. And what kind of volunteer stuff do you guys do?
For volunteer work, we volunteer both on the installation at Fort Bliss and then off post. So we've done things like dog walking, community garden. There's a beautiful community garden that gives out fresh vegetables and food to the community. So we go there and we help them harvest and weed the grass and things like that. We've done El Pasoans Fighting Hunger food banks, the Operation Santa. There's so many. I just want to make sure I'm saying the good ones. The volunteer at the zoo. We do zoo volunteers. And then a lot of the MWR events. So there's a lot of events on post that the MWR host, and we volunteer as the task. So we go in and we will help with ICE. We will do safety checks. We'll do check-ins in the front. We're just helping with the event, really. The purpose of that is just to connect with the Fort Bliss community as much as we can.
Okay. Awesome. Now you also have a team, it's not just you. You have an entire boss team. Tell me about your team, like who that includes, what are their roles, things like that.
Absolutely. I have an amazing team, and they have done so much for the boss program at Fort Bliss. I have a vice president, and the vice president pretty much, they do whatever I do, they do. So we split those tasks. I have a secretary of administration who does all of the admin work, the calendar invites, they review the op orders, the SOPs. They do a lot of the paperwork, the AARs and things like that. And the secretary also runs our VMIS, so our Volunteer Information System Management System. They run that.
Okay.
And then we used to have a treasurer, but that didn't make any sense for us because we don't do a lot with handling funds for soldiers. So we switched it out for a PAO. That was Sergeant Major Sweeney's idea. So he wanted to make sure that we were represented correctly. And the way to do that is with public affairs. And so Sergeant Ingram is our PAO, and he's done an amazing job.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that you guys put a PAO in there. I guess I'm a little biased, though,
No, it's needed. We didn't know we needed it until we had it. And he just knocks it out of the park. You won't reach the soldiers unless you're using a good public affairs officer. Just somebody good in public affairs, because he represents BOSS in a way that they can see it on social media, with our flyers, just everything about our marketing. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you guys won, FORSCOM's Best Extra Large Boss Program of the Year. So somebody saw something somewhere, right? So maybe it was due to your PAO. Shout out to Sergeant Ingram.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So also, I heard something about you helping other boss presidents with ideas and their boss programs. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes. So Specialist Ruffin, he's a dear friend of mine now. He won as well. He won Best Boss President of IDR for small installation. So I'm really proud of him. He started as a boss president at White Sands Missile Range when their program was very small and it wasn't very active. And he had this passion to make it better. And so he would drive almost an hour to Fort Bliss so that I could train him, or I would drive to White Sands and give him some training as well. So very, very proud of him. He's done an amazing thing with the program.
Absolutely. Now, has there been any partnership between Fort Bliss and White Sands with maybe programs, events, or activities?
Yes. One of our largest ones was when we did so we're always sending out the invitation to White Sands because they are so small. They have maybe 25 boss soldiers. They operate quite a few events for their program, but we operate 20 a month on average. And so we're always sending out the invitations, and they love to drive down and come to all the events. In December, so during opportunity leave, we do an event every single day.
Okay.
Every single day. So during December, we did 27 events in 31 days.
Wow.
And I know it was a lot.
That sounds exhausting.
We did it. And White Sands, their boss soldiers participated in quite a few of those events. And I'm really happy that we were able to provide that for them during Christmas. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So now you have left your presidency, and I understand you're doing a skills center with MWR. Now, was this like kind of a transition from the boss presidency? Was there a reason why you didn't go back to your unit? Like, how did you end up where you are now?
Yes. It was kind of perfect timing. When I started leaving the council for boss, I was within my window to start a career transition program, CSP, Career Skills Program. And I chose the MWR. And right now I'm interning under the Operations Support Specialist. So I'm learning a lot about behind the scenes. And I'm only able to do this skill bridge because of me getting out of the Army. It's part of that process, my transition.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so I know you said you're getting out of the Army. What's next for Corporal Deschenes?
College. I know. I could be more exciting and say I'm going to go build rocket ships or something. But I'm going to college. I'm going to the University of New Mexico, and I'm going to be a full-time student. I might get a part-time job because I can't help myself, but I really am focused on my education.
Okay. And after you graduate, is there any chance we'll have you back as an officer or involved with, like, say, government work in some form?
Absolutely. I would love to, after I finish getting my degree, I would love to come back within the MWR and work helping soldiers, just giving back to that community and being a part of it again. Because I don't want to leave, but I know that there's opportunities for me that I need to try.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And MWR is such a wonderful place. Being around the Army as long as I have, there's so much that you can do within MWR. I mean, and I don't mean just the boss program, but, you've got ACS with, Army family team building, deployment readiness, financial readiness, loan closet, moving help. There's so much that you can do in MWR marketing and things like that. So I think they would be very, very lucky to have you back in any MWR program in the Army. Okay.
Thank you. I hope so too.
Hey, I've got some connections in a few places. You just let me know when you're getting out or when you're coming back, I should say. So, I've really enjoyed talking to you. Do you have any advice for future soldiers or even current single soldiers, not just at Fort Bliss, but in the Army as in general, when it comes to the BOSS program?
Absolutely. When you are getting to your first duty station or you're being moved to another duty station, make it your purpose and mission to find a community. Find somewhere you belong, that you can give back, and that you can feel like you're giving back to that community and that you're a part of them. It's a sense of belonging that we crave as human beings, but it's your job to find that. It's not just going to fall into your lap. So BOSS is a great way to do that, but there's a ton of different organizations that want you to be a part of that community and to make a difference. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And where could a single soldier find the BOSS program? Is there a specific location that they have on an installation? Are they all the same, or do you just have to ask when you get there?
They're all different. So every installation is different. Fort Bliss, ours is located within a soldier activity center on East Bliss. But when you first get here, you hear about us at the newcomers brief. So you see our faces the very first week that you're here. So each installation might be different. What I would suggest is looking into that installation's MWR webpage and typing in BOSS. They will have a BOSS program pop up, and it will tell you how to get in touch with them, whether that's Instagram or Facebook or a phone number. Your MWR is tracking those BOSS programs.
All right. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to close with a little bit of information that I found about the BOSS program. The BOSS program, founded in 1989, enhances the quality of life and needs of single soldiers, single parents, or GEO bachelors by offering support and a variety of opportunities for personal and professional development through social events and community service opportunities throughout all U.S. Army bases. And I think, Reschelle, because you're going to be a civilian soon, you embody what the BOSS program stands for, and I think it's just been amazing to hear your story and see how you have been rewarded for all of your hard work. And I wish you the best in all of your future endeavors, and that Tour de Bliss lives on, and that I see that across other installations in the future.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming on today. Greatly, greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you so much for having me on FORSCOM.
Absolutely. And that's it, folks. We'll see you next time on the Frontline.